Hello y'all and welcome back to today's video on Blue Dog Politics, and we're going to be diving back into the 2020 Senate elections and where I think things currently stand. This is going to be a little bit of my prediction and also a little bit of race ratings here. We're going to kind of mend the two and just give a general look at this point in mid-July on how things are looking for the November elections here for the U.S. Senate. I think that the U.S. Senate majority is in play. I think either the Democrats or the Republicans here could win this. So it's going to be very interesting to see, and we're going to fill everything out as we go through. What I've done already is that I filled out every state that I don't think garners too much discussion, too much attention. I think these are all going to be pretty safe states here for their respective parties. That isn't to say that there aren't more safe states out there, and you'll see as we go through the states I think that are also safe. But these are the states that don't really garner too much discussion. We're going to work our way kind of from the safest seats all the way down to the lean and tilt seats. So as we start here, we're going to start in the Midwest with Minnesota. I'm going to rate this as a safe seat for the Democrats to hold with Tina Smith. She was appointed to the seat after Al Franken resigned and then won her special election back in 2018. She's up for a full 6-year term now in 2020. I think she's very likely to win this state. This is likely going to be a state that also delivers Joe Biden a handed win. So we'll see how she does here, but I think that she's actually going to run ahead of Joe Biden, and I think that she's going to do pretty well here. Going down to the state of Virginia, we're going to switch it up a little bit, head down to the south. I think this is going to be a state that Mark Warner is able to hold pretty handedly for the Democrats. Republicans have had a very hard time in the Trump years, and really since about 2008, 2012. Democrats have been performing well here. Mark Warner, I think, is going to be a shoe-in win for this seat. But if we're looking for Republicans to get to a 60-seat filibuster-proof majority, that would be a seat you look at. I don't think that's too likely, though. As we move forward, a seat that I would actually rate pretty safe for the Republicans would be Mississippi. Cindy Hyde-Smith is running for her first 6-year term after winning a special election. She's running against the same Democratic nominee, but I think that she's going to be very likely to win this seat come November. I think this is going to be an outright win for her, and I think it's a seat that I think Republicans should be able to hold pretty soundly. Moving over to Alabama now. This is going to be a seat that we're watching for to see if Doug Jones, now the incumbent, Democratic senator who beat Roy Moore in a special election in 2017 very narrowly against a historically bad candidate. We'll see if he can keep up his fortunes and win a 6-year term now. He's going to be facing either Tommy Tuberville or Jeff Sessions. Jeff Sessions used to hold this seat, then stepped away when he moved up to the federal level, working with Donald Trump as the Attorney General. Tommy Tuberville, though, has the backing of Donald Trump. I think Tommy Tuberville is likely to win this seat, and this will likely be a pickup here for the Republicans. So we're already at a -1 here for the Democrats. Moving over to Georgia, we have two Senate elections up. We have the main Senate election, where David Perdue is going to be looking to be reelected here against Jon Ossoff. I think that David Perdue actually, I would give this a lean towards him. Could this get close? Yes. And if you're looking for an outright Democratic win at 51 seats, this is going to be one of those prime targets. I think Jon Ossoff definitely has the potential to win this seat outright. And we could even see this go to a runoff if we have enough third party activity here. But I think it's going to be between these two main candidates. It'll probably be decided on the November ballot. Right now, though, you'd have to give the lean to David Perdue, but we shall see how that turns out. And the Georgia special election, looking at Kelly Loeffler, I don't think she's too likely to win in this election. I think Doug Collins will likely be the Republican representative. That goes on to the runoff. This won't be decided on election day, but the Democrats are having a hard time coalescing around one candidate. We could see Lieberman maybe pull this one out and get on that top two ballot, but it's also very possible that Democrats don't. So we'll have to see. But right now, I'd actually give this as a likely hold for the Republicans in that special election. Going over to South Carolina, Jamie Harrison, the Democrat, is challenging incumbent Republican Senator Lindsey Graham. I think this is going to be a likely hold for Lindsey Graham, but I think that this could be one of the seats. If you're looking for now a 60-seat or Democratic filibuster-proof majority, or even a 51-seat majority, this could be a seat you're looking at. Jamie Harrison's actually fundraising pretty good. He's not polling too far behind Lindsey Graham. Some polls he's actually even tied. We do have a lot of undecideds here, and typically they do break late for Republicans, so I would think that Lindsey Graham still has the edge here. He's likely to hold it, but this could be a seat you could need to be on an upset watch for. As we head over towards Kentucky, we have Mitch McConnell facing up against Amy McGrath. Amy McGrath just won the Democratic primary against Charles Booker. It was a closer primary than many would have thought just a couple of months ago, but Amy McGrath did win this out. I think this is still a likely hold for the Republicans. However, if you're looking for, again, that 51 seat majority for the Democrats, this is going to be another seat you're going to be looking at. And if you're looking for a 55, 56, or even a 60 seat win for the Democrats, this is definitely a seat you're going to want to win. As we head on over towards Texas, this is another state I'm going to hand as a likely hold over to the Republicans and John Cornyn. I don't think this is going to be as close as 2018. I don't think that this is going to look like the Ted Cruz, Beto O'Rourke map. I think that despite Joe Biden maybe pulling a little closer to Donald Trump here, I think John Cornyn will probably handily win this by an upper single digits or lower double digit win. He just has rather good numbers here in the state of Texas. Over towards Alaska, another likely state for the Republicans. Dan Sullivan's not polling too good, but he's not polling too bad either. I think that in a really good year for Democrats where Joe Biden is really outperforming, I think this could definitely be a seat that is looked at as let's go take that one. Because Democrats do need a net pickup of 4 if they don't win the presidency here to flip the Senate, and we're already down 1 here with Alabama. So Alaska could be a seat we're looking at, but we'll continue to watch that. Now let's get into some good fortunes for the Democrats. I think Michigan is going to be a hold here for the Democrats. I'll lean that over to Gary Peters. He's facing John James. He does have some statewide name recognition. He ran against Debbie Stabenow as the Republican. Uh, or he ran as a Republican against Debbie Stabenow back in 2018. He came rather close, but Debbie Stabenow still had a handed win here. But he's running again now against Gary Peters, who's looking for re-election. I think this will still probably go over to the Democrats, but it will be a race to watch because what happens here will likely mirror in some way what happens on the presidential level. Moving over to the state of New Hampshire, I think that's going to be a likely hold for Jeanne Shaheen. We're just not looking at a lot of Republican support on the other side to oppose her. However, we shall see. New Hampshire is a state that can do wonky things, and if Donald Trump's able to really pull things together, the Senate Republicans can really start to pour some money in. I think New Hampshire could be a state that they're really looking at to hold their majority. As we head over to Colorado, this is going to be a state I'm actually going to rate as safe here for the Democrats. This is currently held by Republican incumbent Senator Cory Gardner, who won in the 2014 red wave election. He's not doing too good right now, though. John Hickenlooper won that Democratic primary and is currently up ahead by solid double-digit numbers against Cory Gardner. We're looking at potentially Democrats plus 15 here. So I think this is actually going to be a safe seat that Democrats can count on picking up, which can cancel out that Alabama loss. Heading over to Arizona, Mark Kelly facing off against incumbent Senator Martha McSally, who lost the 2018 special election, but then was appointed to this seat once John McCain died. I would give this as a likely pickup for the Democrats here. Mark Kelly is pulling very good against Martha McSally. Right now, I think the average is somewhere between 5 and 10 points up against her, and Joe Biden's doing good here. I think right now you'd have to give this as a likely pickup for the Democrats. What we're left now are the main 4 that I'm looking at to determine Senate control. You see we have a 48-47 split. The state of Kansas, we're looking at Barbara Boiler facing off against likely going to be Chris Kobach, but we'll see who wins that Republican nomination. I think it'll likely be Chris Kobach, who actually blew the 2018 governor's race, lost it to Laura Kelly. And I would right now give this as a lean towards whoever the Republican nominee is. Again, I think likely Chris Kobach. But he's has low approval ratings here. He's tied a lot to Sam Brownback, and I think it's going to be possible that he might be the one candidate that could lose this election. It's been a long time since Kansas has elected any Democrat on the federal level, but I think if there's going to be a year that happens, this could definitely be that year. Going over to Montana. This is a state I'm really looking at. I think this is going to be an interesting one to determine Senate control. We have incumbent Senator Steve Daines, the Republican facing incumbent governor now seeking election here to the Senate office, Steve Bullock, who ran in 2020. as a presidential candidate. Didn't do too well there, but he's polling very well here in the state of Montana. Montana has a long history of splitting tickets. I would actually give this as a lean right now to Steve Bullock. I'm going to get rid of that tilt category. I don't plan on using it really. But I think that Steve Bullock could definitely pull this one out here. And I think right now that could even be likely. We see Republicans really scurrying to try to fundraise and hold this seat. We'll see what happens, but I do think it's very possible that Steve Bullock is able to flip that one. So now we're up to three um, turnovers here from Republicans to Democrats: Arizona, Colorado, Montana, with Republicans picking up Alabama, leading to a net pickup of 2 for Democrats. As we head on over towards the state of Iowa, Joni Ernst won in 2014. Again, that Republican wave now facing, as we now know, Theresa Greenfield, who won the Democratic primary. Doesn't have too much experience here on the federal and statewide level, but she had the backing of the Democratic establishment, and she's actually not polling too bad here. This is a state that I think will definitely be closer than 2016 at the presidential level, and I think Iowa could definitely be a state that could be a prime target for Democrats to win. Right now, just because of the incumbency advantage and because it's likely to go to Republicans at the presidential level, I would give the lean to Joni Ernst, but that is very possibly going to go to Democrats. I think it's really going to be one of the tightest races along with Montana and North Carolina that we see this election cycle. Speaking of North Carolina, we'll touch on that. I think that this is going to be a race again that's very close. We're going to be looking at Cal Cunningham trying to defeat Thom Tillis, who won back in 2014. Cal Cunningham right now is leading current election polling, and it wouldn't surprise me to see him win here by a point or two. I think Joe Biden has the potential to win here. And I think if Joe Biden does win here, that means that Cal Cunningham would have already won. So I'm going to give this as a lean towards Democrats. And last but certainly not least, the state of Maine, Susan Collins. I think that this is going to be her closest election in a long time. I think it's going to be the one that she loses. I'm going to give this as a lean to Sarah Gideon. She has been doing very well. We've been looking at a lot of Democratic support around her, and she's been polling pretty well here too. Given that it's now an election year and now we have ranked choice voting in Maine, I think it's likely that Sarah Gideon will definitely pick this one up. It probably will be a close race, but I don't think it'll be the closest race. I think that Sarah Gideon has the potential to win this thing by several points. So here is the way I currently see the Senate makeup. I think Democrats are very likely to take the Senate majority, 51 seats. I think the states that really need to be watched would be Montana, Kansas, North Carolina, Maine, Arizona. Those are going to be the states I think that we're really going to be watching come November 3rd. I think those are going to be some of the tightest ones, even though Arizona's rated as likely. We could see that be a very close race. So thank you for joining me here today. You can hit that subscribe button to get more content here on YouTube. You can also follow me over on Twitter at BlueDogPolitics for my latest predictions, thoughts, and evaluations of our elections. Have a nice and safe one. Join me back here next time.